Hey there, my friends. Welcome to this week's Midweek Motivation. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're getting some runs in. I hope life is good. Well, here's what I want to talk to you about today. What if everything in your life could just start to change with just one sentence? You know, midweek, middle of the week, man, it can feel like a grind. With busyness of life and family and all the things and training. And usually around the middle of the week, man, training starts feeling hard, work starts piling up, and motivation just dips. Like sometimes it's hard to get out and do what you got to do. But sometimes we got to make a decision. Change doesn't start with more time or more resources. We all wish for more time. If I just had more time, if I just had more money, and those things aren't bad. I'll tell you, you're not going to create more time. We all have the same amount of time. It's how we appropriate our time. It's where we expend the resources that we have that's important. But change doesn't start with more time or resources. It starts with a decision. And that decision can literally be one sentence. You might have heard the recent podcast with Phil Klinkner, who's a Run the Riot podcast, Run the Riot athlete, and he finished the Badger 100 in 22 hours. And it's a great story. And many of you have done these races, and the finish line, you hit the finish line in whatever time you finished and you accomplished that goal. But the story of that accomplishment, it doesn't start with the race. For Phil, his background, he was overweight, he was drinking daily, and he was just stuck in a rut post-COVID. He was stuck in a rut. Maybe you say, hey, I can relate to that. I feel like I'm stuck in a rut. Yeah. Are you stuck in a rut? Let me just ask you right now, dude. Are you stuck in a rut? I've been there. I've been there like not long ago, stuck in a rut, just doing the same thing over and over again. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. You keep beating your head, even in training, doing the same thing over and over again, and it's not working, and you got to figure out what's going on. Or are you not doing what you should be doing? You're not training because you've got these other things that you're allowing to get into the way, in the way of it. Or maybe you got in trouble with your job or family, and you just keep doing the same thing over and over, and it's time to do something different. Well, you see, Phil was stuck in that rut, and during deer season, he had a moment of clarity, and he just sat up and he said, I'm going to change my life today. That's the sentence. I'm going to change my life today. And that was the beginning. He started working out. He had a Bowflex machine. He started working out on the Bowflex. He started walking and running and eating cleaner, and then believing like that he can do something. He had no master plan, no trainer, no overnight transformation. He just had one decision, one sentence, and then action. Guys, we live in a society today where people want instant gratification. And that decision, that sentence, like I'm going to change my life today, is not taking a pill. It's not something that's going to change you overnight, but it's a beginning of starting the process. It's saying I'm going to change my actions to change my life. I don't like where I am. Well, I'm going to start turning the ship. I'm going to start doing the things to turn the ship. And you know what? That doesn't happen on a dime. That doesn't happen overnight. And we want to take a pill to lose all the weight. We want to take, all these things. We want instant gratification, but that's not the way life works. That's not the way to do things right and to be fulfilled. And so let's talk about that mindset shift. Like I said, change isn't like a lightning strike. It's a light switch. All right. Phil, he took responsibility. He took ownership even when he didn't feel ready, And I think what he said was he was out hunting. He was out of breath. He was doing he's like, man, this is not how I want to live. And maybe right now you're like, yeah, I can relate. This is not how I want to live. These are not the things I want to be doing. This is not how I want to be feeling. This is not how I want my races to end up. Like we're signing up for races because we get excited and we fizzle out. And then you show up at a race and you just kind of maybe finish it, just kind of do mediocre, or you don't finish it, and it's not something that you feel proud of. You're not even putting into it to learn from it. You're just kind of going through the motions. And so maybe you're there and you just need to take responsibility. like, I need to take responsibility for this. I need to take ownership of where my life is and start making some changes. And like for Phil, he didn't know how necessarily, but he knew why, and he just started doing stuff, and so they had that clarity. Like, all right, I need to do something because I don't like where I am. And then there's some momentum. Action came before like complete motivation. Like, let's just start doing something. And action builds motivation. When you start, you start working and towards something, you build that momentum toward a goal, and that momentum, you just keep going and going and going. We call it like you drink the ultra Kool-Aid. You drink the Kool-Aid, you keep drinking the Kool-Aid, and you keep going forward and forward and moving, but you got to make that decision. And you got to understand like why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to be where you are and you want to be somewhere else. And then you start working toward it and building momentum. And then the other word is discipline. You follow through with consistent effort. You've heard me say this a lot because some days you just don't feel like doing it, but you keep the goal in mind and you get up and do it anyway. Motivation is fleeting, but discipline is a daily thing. And you just do that daily thing and you keep going, you keep working at it, you keep chipping away at the things that are holding you back from your goal. And you keep putting brick by brick, building yourself into that person you want to be, whether it be running, whether it be life, whether it be education, whether it be your family, whatever it is, whatever God has for you, you're doing it. You start building up, you cooperate with that goal, with the plan that you've set for you or that God set for you. You cooperate with him and you build that. All right. And so, the world didn't change for Phil. He did. He changed. And it started with a decision. And like, just because you make a decision, the world's not going to change. You're not going to get more time in your day. Your resources, you're not going to just win the lottery. I mean, maybe you will, but you got to buy a ticket. I don't know. I mean, remember me if you do. But it's just not going to change. So you've got to change. You've got to figure out how to make it happen. And it just starts with that decision. And so here's just some practical takeaways, things I want to encourage you with. Like right now, what part of your life feels stuck? What part of your life feels like you're in a rut? You ever been in a rut? You ever been like on a 4-wheeler or your truck or a tractor and it's literally stuck in a rut and you can't get out? Like you're just going. You can't turn out of it because the rut is so deep. I've done that on a bicycle. In fact, my brother, that happened on him on a bike and he broke his collarbone because he fell over. He got stuck in a rut, literally. So what part of your life feels stuck right now? I want you to just take a second, man. Like if you're feeling stuck, what's going on? Now, what small decision have you been putting off? A lot of times we're stuck in that and we know the decision we need to make. We already know what we need to do. Most of the time we know exactly what we need to do. We just got to make that decision. What small decision have you been putting off? What do you have to do? What is that, man? If you've got to say it out loud or like write it down right now, what part of your life feels stuck? Write it down. What decisions you've been putting off? Write it down. And what if you said right now, I'm going to do something about it? And I don't know what that thing is for you. Maybe it's, I'm going to stop numbing myself with food. I'm going to stop using that to cope with stress in my life. Or I'm going to walk every morning until I can run again. Or I'm going to sign up for that 50K and I'm going to do what it takes. I'm not just committing to show up at the starting line. I'm committing to do the work to go and do that 50K or that 100-miler or that 200-miler or whatever it is. Pick that sentence and say it out loud. Write that sucker down and act on it today. Put it on a sticky, stick it on your mirror, and don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till next week. Like, do it now. Make that, why not now? Like so many times you're like, oh, I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start next week. I'm going to start when these things happen. No, dude, start now. Make the decision now and do what you can now. You might not be able to do all the things. You've heard me say this a million times. When you can't do what you want, you do what you can. Do what you can now, but start moving. Start turning the ship toward that goal, toward that life that you want, toward that life that you're supposed to have, toward that person that you're called to become. Start turning that. Do it now and write it down. And so, You know, that one sentence took Phil from from fatty to finisher, you know? And if you heard the podcast, I'm not making fun of him or anything. When he was a kid, they called him fatty. But from drinking daily to being a disciplined runner, and I tell you, as his coach, he's very disciplined and he runs and he does what's on the schedule. He didn't wait till he was ready. He just made a decision. And that's what we need to do. And you don't need a plan necessarily. You don't need a plan right away. You just need to start doing. Just start building momentum. You need a starting line. And for a lot of us, that starting line is just the sentence. I'm going to do this. And so what is it today, man? What do you need to do? What is it you've been putting off? Maybe this is a call to action for you. Maybe this is what you needed today. It might not be for everybody. So you may say, dude, I'm right where I need to be. I am crushing it. Man, God bless you. I love that. Be encouraged. Be encouraged because at some point you said that sentence and you started doing the things. But there's some people that are listening right now, man, who just, they're stuck. They're stuck. Well, this is your call to get unstuck. Get out of it, dude. Get out of it and do what you're called to do. It's time. It's time. Man, if you want to listen to Phil's whole story on the podcast, you can go to www.terrio.run/PhilK, or just check it out on anywhere you listen to podcasts or on YouTube. And guys, you don't need me to make these decisions for you, but if you're ready to change your life one step at a time and you need a coach to help you with your running goals, go to terrio.run/coaching. Go to the website, www.terrio.run, /coaching. And I'll be glad to talk with you and see if we're a fit. But I'm most concerned with people being all that they're called to be. And if that's not running, maybe you're sitting here and you're like, I'm listening to this running podcast and running's not my issue right now. There's some other things in my life where I'm stuck and I need to get unstuck. And so this is the call. This is the call for you to get unstuck. I hope and pray that you make any decision that you need to make for you to be the person that God's called you to be. And I hope you have a great day, man. I hope you're blessed this week. And man, that's all I got for you today. Hopefully it hits home. Take care, man. God bless. Bye-bye.